Less than a month ago, ESPN analyst Jonathan Givony stated publicly that he believed that the Houston Rockets should fire head coach Stephen Silas and cut their second leading scorer, Kevin Porter Jr. I can somewhat get behind the firing of Silas, just like many of the Rockets fans. He has bad rotations in play calling and seems to be limiting both Alperen Sengun and Tari Eason. However, I think the take on KPJ was bad at the time and looks even worse now. Porter dropped 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists in last night's game to will the Rockets to a win over the Los Angeles Lakers. The team decided to try to make him the point guard next to Jalen Green for the last couple seasons, despite Porter not really having any high-level point guard experience. He was viewed as a two-guard out of college and a player that wasn't necessarily the best playmaker. However, the Rockets wanted to give it a shot. It's definitely been somewhat of an up-and-down ride, but I think he's handled it really well and gotten better as time has gone along. He still struggles with turnovers and inefficiency at times, but he's putting up 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists a game on top of a steal as well. I think people should give him some more respect. When people talk about the Rockets with the brightest futures and highest ceilings, you see people talk about Sengun and Green and Smith, sometimes even Eason, but they never seem to mention Porter. Earlier in the year, many Rockets fans claimed the team played better without him. He's a player that definitely has become somewhat of a controversial topic, with very strong opinions on both sides of how good he actually is. So should Kevin Porter Jr. be the Rockets' point guard going forward? I'd actually argue yes. To truly answer that question, let's look at Porter's career as a whole and then this season. Before we get into the impressive development of KPJ, if you enjoy my content and watch a few videos of mine, think about subscribing. 96% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so if you watch me before and enjoy the content, drop a sub and comment down below. It really helps the channel. Let's start with his stint in Cleveland, because that's where it all began. Porter was seen as a lottery-level prospect at points during his freshman season at USC, but ended up slipping all the way to the 30th pick in the 2019 draft to the Milwaukee Bucks, who subsequently traded him to the Cleveland Cavaliers. This was after LeBron had left for the Lakers, which meant there were a lot of touches to be had. KPJ would take advantage and outperform expectations as a rookie, putting up 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per game in 23 minutes a night. However, in January of his second season, there was an incident where he became frustrated and threw his food in the locker room. The Cavs decided he was too childish and immature after the locker room incident, on top of some other events, and decided that they would cut him despite his solid performance on the floor. Enter the Houston Rockets, who are willing to take a chance on his upside and talent, despite all the off-the-court and attitude issues. He would play 26 games for Houston in the 2021 season, and it looked like Houston's gamble was paying off handsomely. He averaged 17 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds per game, looking like a player that could be a pivotal part of the franchise going forward. However, some of the same concerns still followed him. He only shot 31% from 3, and despite the 6 assists, was averaging 3.5 turnovers. However, for a player being given NBA point guard responsibility for the first time, he looked pretty good. Then the Rockets drafted Jalen Green in the 2021 NBA draft. He was viewed as a somewhat inefficient two-guard who wasn't a very good playmaker, but could score and had elite athleticism. He presented a very similar player profile to KPJ, who had just started to break out for the Rockets. This was where the team would make KPJ the full-time starting point guard going forward. They decided not to play John Wall in the 2022 NBA season and fully committed to a Porter-Green backcourt for the time being. Many thought he would struggle and doubted him, but the first year with Green was still promising. He averaged 16 points, 6 assists, and 4.5 rebounds per game. He raised his three-point percentage to 38% on nearly 7 attempts. It was a great sign for his ability to be an efficient shooter and scorer for the team going forward. He also lowered his turnovers from around 3.5 in his first season in Houston to around 3 in his second season. He started all 61 games he played in and performed well when he was on the floor. However, the Rockets did suspend both Porter and Christian Wood for a game in January, citing poor behavior after the team's loss as the reason. There were still some attitude and off-the-court concerns with him, but the basketball was good. However, many outsiders still viewed him as more of a stopgap point guard for the Rockets, rather than the future of the position for them. The Rockets did not add another point guard last offseason, so Porter entered this year as the starter at the 1 spot once again. He was really hot early on in the year, averaging about 20 points a game for most of the season. However, he's dealt with some injuries as of late, and because of that, his numbers have slipped down a little bit. Despite that, it's still been the best season of his young career so far. He's put up 18.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and over a steal per game. However, despite the noticeable improvement and career year, many took his time off with injury as an opportunity to cast doubt upon him. Many across NBA Twitter claimed the Rockets looked better after Porter's injury, and that he was holding back the team and making them worse. There was also a statement from ESPN's Jonathan Givony less than a month ago claiming the Rockets should get rid of Porter after the season for similar reasons as the fans claimed. However, this narrative is very easily provable as false. For the season, the team has a -6 net rating with KPJ on the floor. However, they have a staggering -12 without him. They are literally twice as bad without him, at least in terms of net rating. The 6-point swing is massive and displays how valuable he really is for Houston. He's become kind of extremely underrated and disrespected. However, he must have seen all this talk. The Rockets played the Lakers last night, and he knew more people than usual would be watching, and he dominated. He had 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists, with a true shooting of 72%. He was phenomenal and led the Rockets to a win over one of the NBA's hottest teams over the past month. He's not a detriment, he's actually really important for Houston. Kevin Porter Jr. has been disrespected all year, and honestly for most of his career. NBA fans across Twitter and even ESPN analysts were saying the team is better without him and that Houston should just cut him and move on. All of this was said despite the team having a net rating 6 points higher with him on the floor versus off. The team started the Kevin Porter as the point guard experiment full-time last season, and he's really developed as a playmaker and worked on lessening his mistakes. Sure, there are still some valid concerns about his efficiency and decision-making at times, but he's continued to develop and grow with the Rockets. Yet when people debate about who's the Rockets' most important players going forward, they always seem to overlook KPJ. So should he be the team's starting point guard going forward? I'd say yes. He's a natural scorer and is getting better at his flaws. The team is better with him on the floor, yet everyone seems to think the opposite. The team would be better off adding another big or wing than replacing him at the 1 spot. He's their second leading scorer and a positive player. He's become really underrated, and he's honestly just a really good player. Let me know your thoughts. I know not everyone will agree. Like I said, it's kind of a controversial topic. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.